What's up guys, Josh here, and I'm back with another Google playlist, what music I'm listening to, what I'm testing on that music, and I'm going to provide links to all the music down below if you want to download the Google playlist on your Google Play, and a list of tracks down below if you don't have Google Play but you still want to look them up. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's bring over the playlist and see what we're looking at here. What the fuck? Okay. That was fucking weird. Okay, so I've accrued a list of test music here. I'm calling this test music 2. That's the playlist name. It's actually 27 songs, but 2 of them are old songs, but I still think they're relevant here. Mainly what I'm using this playlist for is speakers. Before it was speakers and headphones. You can still use these for headphones, obviously. It's going to be great. But this is primarily for speaker use. So let's go ahead and get into the first gun, which is going to be Shotgun by Aria Savales. These first few tracks are all going to be like vocals, low vocals mostly. There's not going to be really any yelling, no belting music, no anything like that. It's just going to be kind of soft and low. So let's go ahead and get into this. Very soft guitar. And I listened for the texture in her voice.
My friends all say that this guy in my history
very soft.
Has been giving me the stare all day.
So I like the song a lot, but I like to test the low volume vocals at a standard speaker volume. So I set the speaker volume to what I normally listen to, and because the song plays back at such a low volume, I like to see what the dynamic range of both the guitar and her vocals is able to produce at those lower volumes while still maintaining the same amount of speaker volume, if that makes any sense. The next song is going to be called Saturn by Sleeping at Last, and this song has really sweet vocals, really sweet violin, and it progresses slowly, and I like the build-up. I like that for a lot of songs. What I'm listening to the song is the sweetness and the vibrancy, is that even a word? I don't know. The vibrancy of the violin as well as the vocals that kick in. I think it's about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So let's go ahead and listen to the violin at first. Very sweet, very relaxed. The violinist is very smooth in their transitions. I like that a lot. I like to listen to the beginning of the instrument sweep. So a lot of the times if you have like an amateur violinist or somebody who doesn't know how to play smoothly, you'll hear this and it'll just go straight into the song. It won't just go into the beat. And this violinist is very smooth, and that's something that I like to listen to a lot. And so let's go ahead and listen to the vocals, which again, he's a very controlled vocalist. He comes in very smoothly, and that's another thing that I like to test on here.
It's hard.
Very low, very smooth, very relaxed. Next song is Ain't No Sunshine, and this kind of falls into the same category as the first song did, where the vocals are just coming in at a lower volume than what is normally played out of a song. And I like to test the dynamics of the vocals and the song, and the instruments behind the singing. Very low, very controlled. And then I like the bass guitar behind it. I think it sounds really nice.
It's not warm when he's away.
And then Life Worth Living by Laurel is a song that her voice really gets up in the upper ranges and becomes a little bit what I consider to be airy. And I'm not sure if I'm describing this correctly, but I like the way that her voice kind of airs out at the top end. And I like to listen to the texture in that airiness, if that makes any sense. So you'll hear what I'm saying. And I'll go ahead and skip a little bit further ahead on this so that you can hear kind of her more getting into it. So you see, she really likes to air out the top of her notes. So when she gets really high, she goes, ah, and then she kind of airs out, if that makes any sense. That was probably some horrible singing. Okay, and then this next song is Who Walks In When I Walk Out, and it's by Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. And these are two amazing vocalists. This was recorded years and years and years ago. It looks like 1946 through 1950 something. So years and years, but they're amazing vocals. And for like an old school test, I think you have both a good female and a good male, and the way that they collaborate is just phenomenal.
walks in when I walk out.
Very, very raspy kind of voice. And then hers is kind of the opposite. It's very angelic, it's very sweet, it's very high end and rich in texture, but not rich in thickness or anything like that.
Who walks in when I walk out? Now don't you know you're my baby?
This had to be remastered because for the 50s or the 40s, this sounds incredible. But either way, very good. And then Rag and Bone Man for Life in Her Yet has very, very good texture in both what he's able to produce for his high notes and in, of course, the low notes that he's kind of known for. So let's go ahead and get kind of somewhat into the song and go from there.
Fighting, better know there's life in her yet.
And you have the strings in the background and the slow vocals that he's pulling out. Very good. And then Tale of Tongues by Maluka. Now this is a cover of a Skyrim song. And it's not the best recorded song. I think she just made it kind of in her apartment. And the vocals have like a lot of echo. But one thing she does get into, and I'll see if I can skip ahead to find it. But she gets into this area where she's singing, I think on the video she made about it, she's singing like 9 different not octaves, but she's singing the same part of the song 9 times. She collaborates them all together to get this really music hall effect of having like more than just her. And it sounds really cool. And something I like to listen to is separating all the vocals out individually and seeing if I can follow a certain track within a line of vocals, if that makes any sense.
They bled, I see you shoot their cries.
See right there? She's singing it in a few different times and just combining all the tracks together. And I can't obviously hear it on these, but on a more specific headphone, I can really separate each of the tracks. I'm not sure how many she has in there. I know that she had like, I think 9 in the video, but don't quote me on that. But I can usually pick up at least 2 or 3 depending on the headphone. And then Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine. I like the presence of the song. I like the feeling of the visceralness of the song, especially on a good pair of speakers. It doesn't ever do it for me on headphones like it can on speakers. It just has a certain presence to it. It has like a power behind it. And I like to feel that power, especially when the door opens up and you think you have an understanding of the song and you're like, okay, this feels like tangible in one way. And then the door opens and it's like rushing through the door. It's really cool. Let's go ahead and listen to it. And then it just opens in that part, and then like the left and right channels later on. And I can't hear it because I'm only wearing one, but it should be going like left and right. I Loved Another Woman and the next track over are both very good for listening to guitar. The guitar is very well recorded. It's not super close, which I like. I like a little bit of area between me and the guitar. And I think they both sound really good. So let's go ahead and go through both of them. This is by Snowy White, by the way. Both bass guitar and the electric guitar as well. Very good. The next song by Chris Jones. It's more acoustic. Got a lot of power, a lot of detail behind it. And then Space Oddity is very special to my heart. My dog Voodoo, and I'll put a picture up of him now, very handsome Great Dane. He passed away and we had to put him down. And while we were driving to the vet to put him down, this was a song that was playing on the radio. And so it's got a special place in my heart. And they use David Bowie uses binaural vocals, which means that he has him singing once on the right ear and another time on the left ear, and it's different. And you're listening to both, and it's really cool. So good. And then Phantom of the Opera, I think this one is the Overture portion. Now, each one of the instruments has a lot of vibrance behind them. And the Prague Cello Quartet, which I've never heard of before finding this song, has very, very, very skilled celloists. Very good. And they have like a lot of detail behind what they do. There's a lot of richness to the music, a lot of depth to the music. and very good instrument separation despite them being the same instrument. I really like it. So good. And they add in each one of the instruments slowly. Then Rectifier by Daft Punk, it builds slowly and it starts off really slow like this. And then it builds. And that's what Tron Legacy soundtrack, obviously. And then Reap and Sow by Harry Gregson Williams. He did the Martian soundtrack. And the collaboration between electronic music and strings in this is really, really cool. I like it. I haven't really seen too many that are as smooth a transition as this one. And I like the old school and the new school styles collaborating together in such a successful mix. And there's a few portions in here that actually sound somewhat like other songs. And so I don't know if he just drew inspiration from them. Not really any particular point why I'm bringing that up. It's just something that I noticed. I know certain like beat progressions that I was like, wait a minute, I've heard that. I can't place where, but I've heard it. And not from this song. And that's smooth. Ooh. And then there's just strings all throughout. It's really, really cool. And then Frankenstein's Monster by Henry Jackman. I think this was X-Men First Class. If I'm not, oh yeah, it was definitely. It's right in my face. I was like looking up at the little picture down below. This song starts off really, really simplistic, really almost banjo, I want to say, but I'm not sure the particular type of guitar. And then it just ends with this just incredibly menacing horns and strings and this just orchestra of just impact. And I think there's a electric guitar line in it that also helps it progress. And I think that sounds really good too. Like, tell me that's not intense as fuck. Like, that's so good. And then Beautiful Lie by Hans Zimmer, it just, the impact of it, it hits hard, it hits strong. And it's instant, and I like having speakers. I know it's probably bad for them, but I like having them go from no input to just boom, and like right in your face. So good, man. And then, so these next two songs, and I'll actually go down here for this. These next two songs, The Swimmer and Written on the Sky, are made by the same guy. And the beginning chord progression is actually the same, but one is played with a piano and one is played with a cello or a violin maybe. I'm not sure which. I'll have to listen to it to remember which one. But it's such a beautiful sound, and the way the notes are laid together is just so dramatic and beautiful. I love it. So good. And then I think this is the cello. No, it's violin. It's violin. So interesting thing, this says it's from the movie Disconnect, and it might be. I've never seen Disconnect, but what I have seen is Arrival. And Arrival plays this song, and that's with Amy Adams, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But incredibly beautiful tracks. And then the next couple are kind of like rock tracks, just to test, like, you know, rock music. I'm not a huge fan of rock music. I listen to it occasionally, but I think this is like a good classic sounding rock song. Which is Gold on the Ceiling by the Black Keys. Really unique sounding, really cool. And then Flogging Molly, Devil's Dance Floor is, you know, classic Irish American music. It's very good. You know, I love my Irish music. I really like the unique sounds and the bagpipes that they use and all that stuff, so. I also like that in the beginning, the tapping or whatever they're doing that's like do 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 do. I think it sounds really cool. Freak Like Me is a female vocalist rock song. It's really cool. Hailstorm, if you've never heard of them, you're missing out, man. I don't like rock a whole lot, but I love Hailstorm. Hansley, Bad at Love, or Halsey, whatever her name is, man. Right now we're kind of getting to like electronic music and stuff like that. So I'll let you just kind of figure this one out. Very good bass notes. Just kind of a, you know, kick here and there. Not crazy low or anything like that, but not bad. And then the vocals are pretty decent too.
Looking at my history, I'm bad in love.
And Seven Nation Army, kind of a rock song, pretty cool as well. It's got a really nice beat in the beginning. The left channel is made up primarily of whatever instrument or sound they're using. It's primarily left, but there's like a little bit of resonance that tips off at the right end, and it's more texturized, and it's kind of, it ticks almost. So I'll kind of let you hear what I'm talking about. There's like almost more vibration over there, like more the sound of vibration, if you could pinpoint what exactly that means. And then Cloudlight by Eskimo is just a simply astonishing song for detail. It's got a lot of like little kicks and ticks and tacks and all these sounds that are just, they really pull you out of the song, and you're just kind of like, wow, this is a really unique kind of experience. It almost feels like non-painful needles clicking around your ears and stuff. Okay, and then About Minute for The Alien by Ben Salisbury. This was on the Annihilation movie. Weird ass movie. I'm not even sure if I liked it, but the soundtrack was amazing. So at 4:45, the sound that this makes just creeps me the fuck out to my core, and I'm not sure why. So I'll play the sound. You can feel however about it as you want, but it freaks me out, man. Okay? God. Fuck it's, oh God. But I like hearing it. Like, it's such a weird experience because I hate it so much, but I love it. Like, it's so good. And then I think these last two are actually songs that I've done before, but if you're going to test on speakers, these are some of the best speaker test songs for like dynamic range, going from like a really low note to just blasting and blasting and blasting. And those two songs are going to be No Time for Caution by Hans Zimmer. It's the Interstellar soundtrack. The other one is also the Interstellar soundtrack, also by Hans Zimmer, but it's going to be Mountains. And it just plays like this. It's just so good. It just hits, man. It's so good. It's such like a cool test because you're just sitting there, you think that it's building and building and building. And you expect the moment that it hits to be different. And then it hits and you're just like, what the fuck, man? It's so good. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. I hope you like this playlist. Links in the description down below. If you want to ask me any questions, the best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram. Speaking of which, make sure that you follow me on there because I post updates and stuff like that on there before I actually post to the channel, usually 90% of the time. 70% of the time. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and take my spot back from this mother... Thank you. I hope you liked the video. Like it if you liked it. Dislike if you dislike it. Subscribe to the channel. Stay safe. Don't drown. Don't do anything your mom would approve of. Peace.